What's going on? What's going on? Everybody's doing well, doing their thing out here. Here, we're starting this up. We're letting people tune in. There we go. It's all the vibes out here. All the vibes showing that Howard love out there. We see you.
Little bison love, man. You can never show too much bison love.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it. That means we're all on our assignment. I decided to go with some black and gold to commemorate the moment out here. You know.
Brother Blake, it's good to hear your voice, man. Good to see you, brother. How you doing?
Always good to see you, Brother Crear, man. I'm doing well. Feeling like it's truly game time. Anyone that was still wondering if it's game time, like, yeah, we here.
Yeah. The time is, I say this, the time is now. Even for me in Las Vegas with my race for mayor, man, I filed on Monday, the first person to file at 9 a.m. and 3 years of fundraising and garnering support. And here I am. It is game time. So I know the feeling, and it's across the country. You know, I think everybody has been seeing what's going to happen. Nikki Haley fell out the race. She's the last of the Mohicans. And now it's on Biden, Trump once again, man. So buckle up.
And that's why we're here right now. You know, we figured if we're gonna have these conversations, everybody shout out, good evening, everybody. We get it cracking right out the gate. This is how you know we friends. We just rolled right in. We didn't do any intros right there.
Right.
For all y'all here watching right now, for everybody joining us on the live, you're on IG, on X, on LinkedIn, everywhere. You know, Michael Blake, founder and CEO, Atlas Strategy Group, founder and CEO of Kairos Democracy Project. We're here for our Kairos conversation. We usually do these only at 1 p.m. Eastern, but we figured, given the magnitude of what's going on in the country, we had to do one tonight, and we're going to do another one tomorrow. So it's like, all right, let's figure out who are some heavy hitters who are doing their thing, and you know, if someone is an elected in Las Vegas, about to become a mayor of Las Vegas, we figure that's the kind of person to have kick it off right out the gate. Brother Cedric Crear, talk to the people. First, introduce yourself.
Thank you.
Give some baseline. There's no confusion of where you went to school. We could see that right there. But, talk to the people about what's going on right now.
Thank you, Brother Blake. I call him Brother Blake as he is my Alpha brother, from Alpha to Omega. He is always my brother. And I'm Cedric Crear. I'm a councilman, city councilman in Las Vegas. I represent an area called Ward 5, which includes the historic West Side, which is where Black people can only live before 1960. I was 12 years on the Board of Regents for the Nevada System of Education. So I have a lot of experience in higher ed. And then I'm also running to be the first Black mayor in the history of our city, and then the first Vegas-born mayor in the history of our city. I just filed, as I mentioned, on Monday, and our race has just started, even though we started fundraising March of 21. And Brother Blake knows this because he was there from day one with me throughout the entire process. Our race just started. So we are rocking and rolling. And here in Las Vegas, and here in Nevada, we're a battleground state. And when Senator Reid first got us the caucus years ago, all of a sudden Vegas came on the map. I mean, the vice president's been out here a couple of times. Former President Trump's been out here a couple of times. The president, I was just with the president last month in a small little group setting. So Nevada, and especially Vegas, we're right in the thick of things, man.
Beyond. I always like to start with the why.
Mm-hmm.
So, my mom would always tease me that she named me Michael Alexander Blake. She and Daddy named me after Jamaican politicians. So she was like, you were going to be a politician, a preacher, or a journalist. I ended up becoming all three, right?
I was going to say, that sounds about right.
And like when people ask me about the why, truly, I just feel like it's always been in my spirit. Like I enjoy helping people, and just real practical. I remember the days growing up in the Bronx, selling dinners to pay rent. Right. I mean, that was just the real vibe right there. And then, life changing, get to work for this man named Barack Obama, and then life changes forever. Let's start there, because there's so much energy around people not being excited about things. We actually not taking time about folks who really want to do the work. Brother Crear, what is your why? Is there a moment that happened in your life, moments that happen in life that really you crystallize? You're like, this is why I ran.
Yeah.
And why I continue down this public service.
Yeah, that's interesting. I first ran for the state Senate in 2004 against a gentleman, our fraternity brother, who ended up becoming the first Black Senate Majority Leader in Nevada, the first Black Congressman in Nevada. He's chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus now, as Congressman Horsford. And my impetus for running was this: we need good people to serve in public office. I know that I'm a good person. I had a lot to give, and I wanted to not just be on the sidelines talking about it. I wanted to actually be in the thick of things and doing about it, establishing policy, rolling up my sleeves and doing the work. And so I ran for the state Senate. I lost. I decided I still wanted to serve, didn't give up. In Nevada, when you are on the Board of Regents of our 8 institutions, you are elected. So I was elected in 2006. I won, re-elected in 12. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that we just need good people in public office, and I'm a good person. We see what happens when you get derelicts in public office. We have all seen it, and it could be detrimental. And even if they're in there for 4 years or 6 years or a lifetime, it don't take much to really mess things up. And so we need good people. And I wish more people would serve in public office. Nowadays, people get dismayed whether they feel that their background isn't strong enough. They got some skeletons in their closet, or nowadays, Mike, is because people don't want to get involved in this fight of you say one wrong thing, then you're out. And so it's tough. We need good people in office.
And in that spirit, you are in a state where, from a presidential battleground standpoint, effectively this is going to be about a 7-state election, right? Do you feel that intensity on the ground from what you're seeing on both sides? Like, are people acknowledging and sensing like, hey, we live in a state where democracy is going to be determined by what happens there?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yes, amongst the folks who are engaged, right? I think you will see, as we get closer and closer to the election, we're going to see people who are not engaged, which are going to get engaged. I think they're waiting for the lines to be drawn, who's going to be in the hunt and who's going to fight. So I think it's going to ramp up a lot. But for people who are engaged, and the people that do care about democracy, people who care about the quality of life that they live, the quality of life for their families, then yes, they are very, very much engaged. There's a conversation that is happening every day throughout the entire day about what we're seeing in our country. And many people have opinions. And nowadays, people are very vocal about their opinions. People want to be heard. They have a lot to say. And I think that they see their lives being affected on a day-to-day basis. And that's where people are getting engaged. And so we're going to have to be a lot more deliberate. It's going to get a lot more busier. It's going to be a lot more noise. I mean, you know how it is, Brother Blake, when these third parties, these IEs start coming in and the airwaves get filled, and it's going to get filled with noise. And so hopefully people will be able to read through all that, get down to the root of what they believe is important to them, and to get out and vote, because that's going to be the ultimate test, is when people have to get out. Our GOTV has got to be on point.
Talk to us about the mechanics of your race. Who all is in it? Why did you decide to make a run for mayor? And the role that you see of local leaders right now, because so much of the conversations are about president. We're forgetting that city council and mayors and those on the ground are the ones closest to the ground. So
Yep.
the mechanics of the race, why'd you decide to run, and then break it down from.
Well, I decided to run for mayor because a couple of things. One, I'll be the first Black mayor in the history of our city. I'll be the first Vegas-born mayor in the history of our city. It is my city, it is our city, and it's our time. I know that with me being a small business owner, I have an advertising firm that I have. Me having 12 years on the Board of Regents, 2 years, I'm the only person to ever serve on the Las Vegas Planning Commission and be elected to a position on the Board of Regents. So I had 2 years experience at City Hall and the Planning Commission. By the time we win this race, I have 6.5 years experience as a council person. It is an open seat. The current mayor is termed out. And one, I knew that I'd be the most qualified person to run this race. And then I also know that nobody is going to love my city more than me. And so I know that that it's our time. And I know I'm going to win. So I put my name on the ballot. People talk about it, and I put my name on the ballot. Pay my $100 on Monday and put my name on the ballot. And you're right.
It's good. It's a good $100 to pay.
Yeah,
it's a good $100 right there.
Yes, and you're right about something about local government. I call my office Grand Central Station. People call my office for everything. If your kid got written up at school, they want me to call the superintendent of school. If you're building a $1 billion casino called Circa in downtown, you call my office and everything in between. And so people do look to their local officials to give them direction on so many things. And the thing about local government too is that no matter where you are, if you are in Las Vegas, you're a council person. If you are in Chicago, you're an alderman, or if you're in Tacoma, you go to church with your local officials, you go to the supermarket, you run into them at the coffee store, and you see them and you know them. And they feel comfortable walking up to you and say, hey, so what do you think about this? And people will ask you and confront you about things that have nothing to do with city council, right? But they'll ask you about things to get your thoughts on everything: immigration reform, LGBTQ rights. I want to get a speed hump in my on my street, right? They just know that they're gonna see you, and then when they see you, if I'm standing in line at Costco, then many times people got something to say, and they feel as though I might not be the person to actually be responsible for this, but I do know somebody who knows somebody that can get this message across and get their voice heard.
So talk to us about your reactions when you are what you're hearing from the people about the election right now, nationally, right?
Yeah.
So we have a rematch. You in a city, people, they people out here gambling, they rolling the dice, right? Like, so talk to the folks. Like, what are you hearing good about the president and good about the former president, and what are you hearing that's a challenge for the president and a challenge for the former president?
Yeah, one of the things across the board that I heard, and like I said, I started campaigning or fundraising March 21 for a race that takes place now, 23. So I've been talking to a lot of people. This is from, corporate executive CEOs to cats who are working for Republic Services, which is our local garbage disposal company. They're across the board are fed up with the lack of work getting done. They're tired of just the rhetoric on the far left and tired of rhetoric on the far right. They want to see, and that's why you see a lot more people gravitating towards independence, and how that segment is growing, because people are just tired of all the rhetoric on both sides. And there is rhetoric on both sides, far left and far right. And so trying to manage that and manage that noise, I think, is a tough thing. If you look at the President Biden has had a tremendous amount of success, right? When I talked to him last month here in Las Vegas, it was a very small group of us, and he was on top of his game. He just took open questions. It wasn't like people had note cards and they said, hey, we're going to have these canned questions. None of that. He answered questions about everything, and everything from immigration reform to the economy to housing, mental health, homeless issues. He was right on the spot. If you look at where we are in terms of the economy, we've had 24 months is the longest streak we've had with unemployment under 4% since the 60s. GDP is at an all-time high, 4.3%. We've gotten more jobs than we ever had. Inflation is curbing, right? It is coming down. I don't think it's coming down as fast as people would like for it to see. One of the challenges is that I don't think that people feel it, right? I went to breakfast the other morning. Give you an example of something. I had eggs at a restaurant, eggs, I think bacon, toast, coffee, and the bill was $26 for one person. Adding a tip, I think I walked out of there, it was like $32. People are still feeling that. And but when you say the economy is growing and economies are great, unemployment's low, you know, people are just not feeling it in their pockets right now. They will, right? They will, but right now they just don't. I think that's a huge challenge that the president has. You know, I think Trump, he's got his 75 million voters that voted for him when he lost last time, are still there, right? You would know better than me, but from what I feel, that number has not moved, right? That's his base, so he's starting from there, from 75 million. And I think that when he made the statement, he could stand in Times Square and shoot somebody, and his people still support him. I think that has come to be true. And so he is building off of that. The guy's got 91 indictments against him. He's got these lawsuits. He's got just, you know, he's only 3 years younger than Trump, but he made it seem, than Biden, but he makes it seem like, you know, he's a young buck, and he's not. He has his flaws. But his base is sticking with him, man. So it seems. What do you think?
Well, the fact that you were forgetting who you were talking about for a second, I was about to talk about you right there. You know, I mean, Trump out here forgetting his wife's name. You are here like, well, 3 years younger. Just making sure. We
Yeah.
there,
No. Look, bro. Yeah. Look, man. He's positioning, but he's out there forgetting his wife's name. He's confusing, you know, Biden with Obama. I mean, that's every day. Yeah, he's Nancy Pelosi with, you know, he's all over the place.
Well, you know, the thing that's amazing, he's a master con man, right? Like when you just think about, like, the Republicans have framed this in a age questioning cognitive ability, and it's actually their candidate who is going to have to pay almost $500 million. It's their candidate who's forgetting all these things. It's their candidate making all these mistakes. But what we cannot allow to happen, that people forget the real Donald Trump. Like I was having this conversation a few weeks ago, and have been saying this a lot lately. A lot of cats, they know Trump from The Apprentice.
Right.
They don't remember Trump as the one who called for the Central Park 5 to get the death penalty. They don't remember that his daddy, no question, that he was sued for not letting Black and brown folk to get access to housing. They don't remember that his daddy was at KKK rallies. That is public information in the New York Times. Like, folks forget these kinds of things, right? So we can't let them forget that. So you know, let me calm down out here. It's late on Wednesday night, right?
Hey, let me ask you, have you ever met him? Did you know him before he was president in New York?
Trump, I can fortunately say I have never met the 91-time indicted champion of the world. I've never met him. No. I know several folks who have been in his orbit, but I've never met him, fortunately, you know? So tomorrow, State of the Union. So yesterday, you know, felt very anticlimactic, right? I mean, we kind of all knew this was happening about, you know, President Biden, former President Trump. Then you have the people dropping out from the race, obviously. Tomorrow, State of the Union. What is the issue that you feel that the people of Nevada want to hear, not just that what President Biden has accomplished, but they want to hear that President Biden will work on? Like, what is the one issue that's real granular on the ground that you say, this is what they want to hear you've done, and this is what they hear you want to work on?
Yeah, you know, I think that the big issue is always jobs, me personally. I think that people are working, the economy is growing in Nevada. You know, Nevada has a long history, especially Las Vegas has a long history of bouncing back faster than most economies when it comes to coming off of recessions or coming off of 8, 9, 10, we bounce back. Coming out to 9/11, we bounce back. Coming after COVID, we bounce back. And I think that people need to understand and want to know that there's jobs out there, opportunity, good paying jobs that are going to provide a good living wage for themselves, for their families, that's going to change their lives and change the community's life. I think that's important. You know, people are going to be looking at the president on his delivery. I think his delivery of his State of the Union address could be the most important delivery of any president in the history of our country. Just how that comes off and it flows, and he looks presidential, man, and he's making the country understand that we are in a much better place than when he got it, and we're going to get better. I think that they've made a huge issue out of, which is valid. The borders and immigration reform. I think that's important, especially with Las Vegas being so close to the border between Arizona and California. We get a lot of carryover for that, and people are going to want to know what's going on with the border. Even though he got blocked with his latest immigration reform bill, he tried to get passed. But still, people are going to say, "Where are we going with this whole thing, and what are you going to do about it?"
They're both real,
Yeah,
Talk to us
yeah.
about jobs being created, and talk to us about what's happening with immigration. Uh, Brother Crear, just to wrap this up here, we're going to have a serious, intense year coming up. Give us a sense of the vibe of the state
hmm
moving forward, right? Like those, be your best John Ralston, right? Right. And for anyone who understands John Ralston reports, he knows what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh my
Like,
God! Did you just
give
pull out
them
John
like,
Ralston
we got to
report?
pull it out, right? So it's like, all right, so we're looking at Vegas.
Yeah.
Like what is a neighborhood, one or two, where you're like, this does this, President Biden gonna win this state. This does this. We got some questions here. Like, give us a sense of like where to be paying attention to. Like, what's that neighborhood? What's that community? What's that flow that for the outsider we wouldn't know, that you can give us that perspective?
Yeah, that is a very, very great question, and I don't know if you can sum it up into one thing. The our community wants to feel safe. Issues that are important and to residents in Southern Nevada is safety, protected neighborhoods. Uh, that has to do with mental health issues, homelessness issues, public safety issues, housing costs have are like many metropolitan cities have skyrocketed. But I think we're gonna have to find a way to get cost down. And although, like I said, we have unemployment at a 50-year low, we've had the longest streak of unemployment under 4% since the 1960s, 24 straight months, which is amazing. GDP is all-time high. People, though, however we get costs down in terms of supply chain from getting from point A to point B into people's pockets, that's going to be a huge, huge, huge issue. And if we can get that under control and get it moving in the right direction, and in a very short period of time, that's going to be a game changer. It's almost like, you remember when they say the gas prices. I always judge the president on gas prices when the president really doesn't have a lot of control over gas prices. But they also use it as a barometer. Gas prices are down, cost of milk is down. That whole just in your pocket type of thing. And it's funny, we said that to the president. The president said, "Well, cost of milk is down, by the way," and which it is. So, it's like some of those barometers. You could be saving the world, but if cost of milk is still high, and if gas prices are high, and if eggs and bacon are still high, then those are the things that really affect people.
Now I want to come back more, but I got to hold you to this. Got to keep you on the spot here.
Hmm.
Where's that neighborhood? Give us a sense. Where's that area?
Yeah, look, I think it has to do with right now, has to do with trying to get people's costs down. You
Oh,
know, if they get
not what topic. Like what
okay.
geographical area in Vegas?
Oh, oh, I got you. That's gonna carry the president.
Exactly.
I got you. Well, look, any time I think that the black vote will be huge, right? You know, they say that 1 in 5 Latinos vote, but black people will come out and black people will vote, and black people have always been a voting bloc that you can't take for granted. You know, I think Kamala Harris helped with black women. Black women, as you know, are as loyal and as inveterate as it gets. They don't get more inveterate than a black woman when it comes on voting. And so you're gonna have to rely on your base to get going, and you're gonna have to try to talk to some liberals. And so that neighborhood, I would say, is what I represent in the historic West Side. Even though black people live all over the diaspora of the city, the core of the black community is right in the historic West Side, which I represent. You need to get into the historic West Side. You need to talk to the folk. You need to let them know what you're doing specifically for them, and that's going to help you carry that vote to get you reelected.
And just remind the people who are just tuning in, when is your election day?
Yeah, so we have about 60 days to early voting. June 11th is a primary for municipal elections. If you get 51% of the vote, then you do not have to go to a general. But if you do go to a general, it would be on the presidential ballot and second Tuesday of November.
So I just want everybody to crystallize this. And I said it when I saw you on the vineyard and said, wherever I see
Yeah.
you, like my fraternal pride, my love, my appreciation for you is on 10,000.
Yeah.
And I just want everybody just to crystallize this and make it real local, right? Because we see what's happening in other places. You see what's going on in Georgia and how they're trying to attack Fonnie Willis, and you see what's happening in New York with Alvin Bragg, and it's real local. And it's important to appreciate that Brother Cedric Crear's race and the turnout in his district will determine if President Biden is the winner in Nevada. The winner of Nevada fundamentally will determine who wins the presidency. And it's important for us to all internalize, everybody watching, everybody listening. You're not winning by what happens at a national level. You're not winning by what happens in DC. You're winning by what happens on the block. And these are one of the districts that will determine democracy. So with that, I'm going to give you the final word of inspiration to the people of why do we have to connect democracy with people of color?
Yeah. Well, one, let me just stress the fact that your vote counts and your vote matters. So just get that stigma out of your head that your vote doesn't make a difference. You know, elections are won. You get one more vote than the next person, you win. And in these cases, it's important that you get your voice heard. So I urge you to do some deeper digging, I should say, and not just go off of the rhetoric of what your friend told you. Do some research, find out, make an educated decision, what you feel is right, and then get out and vote. Get out and bring somebody else to the polls. Get out and help someone get there. It's vitally important, and it's going to come down to win or lose if we don't get out and express our constitutional right to vote. It'll affect my race. It'll affect Congressman Horsford's race, who's running, who's chairing the Congressional Black Caucus. We need to get him back in office so they continue to chair. We've got Senate races. We've got local, statewide races, and the president's going to carry that ticket. And that's also important of why we need to ensure that we get the president back in office. But for my particular race, I ask you guys to, look in a little bit. You go to CedricCrear.com, www.CedricCrear.com, find out a little bit more about me. And we need all the help we can get. We're doing great. We got a long ways to go. We just filed on Monday, and we are at a sprint to June 11th.
We all going to
Let's make history together.
There you go. We're going to be locked in.
Yeah.
We're going to lock in, pay attention to the race. June 11th, critical, and all that's happened. Brother Crear, much love, man. So much love
Man,
all
brother,
day.
yeah, brother, it's great. Look, I think even if we were recording, you and I could just get on here and just chop it up and see what's going on and get caught up, brother. So thank you for having me, man. It really is a pleasure. You know, you can keep on doing what you're doing, man. You are our voice. You are talking about issues that need to be talked about on a national scale, man. And I can't tell you how proud I am of you and the work that you are doing, brother. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. You are an inspiration to us all.
Oh man, blessings. Well,
Yeah, man.
this is why we do this, and I know I asked this separately, but for what we're doing for the Kairos Democracy Project, man, we want you to be one of our advisory council members.
Yeah, I'm there.
I'm
there
because we're building something special.
You asked me, I'm there. You know how that goes.
Beautiful.
All right, brother.
To the future mayor. I mean, forgive me. To the councilman. Let me try to be good out here. Brother Cedric Crear out of Las Vegas. Much love, brother.
Thank you, brother. God bless.
God bless. Everybody, it's another Kairos Conversation, Atlas Strategy Group. Join us tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do a recap after the State of the Union. We'll have